Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. Welcome one and all, whether this is the first time you have clicked onto one of these readings or whether you are returning or a brand new subscriber, welcome. Today we have a beautiful reading in honor of this new moon in Taurus, which is going to be happening this Friday or today when this is uploaded. This is a timeless reading, however, it really doesn't matter. We're just honoring the full moon in Taurus, November 2021, and of course the eclipse that's coming in with it, the longest eclipse that we've had in over 500 years. So eclipse period, lots of things going on. And again, this is a timeless reading regardless. It does not matter at all when you click onto this reading, there will still be a message for you. We're just doing the honoring of the moon cycle. So which moon phase has a message for you? So normally we have three readings or three piles, but today of course we have four because there are four phases of the moon. So we have the waning moon, which is great for banishing and cleansing. So that's going to be, part of your reading. And then there's the waxing moon, which is fertility and abundance and prosperity. And then, of course, the full moon. I'm sorry, that's my cat in the background. The full moon, which can be an intense time, but it also can give you clarity if you embrace the madness, trusting your instincts. And your abilities can be heightened at this time. And then, of course, we have the new moon, great for shadow work, integrating our dark selves or whatever it is that we need to let go of, brings great power, and you have the new beginnings and setting intentions for the future. So just to make this a little bit more interesting, we have one of these beautiful things here with little icons on them, and they each represent each phase of the moon, and we've just gone through them for you. However, you do not know which of these correlate to which moon, so you have no idea what kind of reading you're going to get. So we have the star, so just got to go on your energy here and your intuition. The star is pile 1, the rainbow is pile 2, and then of course we have the moon with pile 3, and then we have the question mark on pile 4. So which moon phase has a message for you? So just intuitively pick whichever one is calling out to you, and that will be your moon phase. So just trust whatever message, whatever phase is for you, that's the message that you're supposed to get today. So as always, take as much time as you need to really ground into your own energy. The more you are in your own essence, the more you are grounded into your own intuition and clicked into your own energy and grounded into Mother Gaia, the more these messages are going to resonate with you. So if you need to go off at any time, please feel safe to do that and put us on pause and then come back whenever you feel like you are ready for the reading. The timestamps, as always, with every one of these readings are down below, so you can access your reading as quickly as you want. Let's get right into these readings. We're going to put these aside for now. So the big reveal, for those of you who chose pile 1 and the star, your moon phase is the full moon, and that's a wonderful way to start. Actually, I didn't even really intend them. I just assigned one to each without really thinking of it. So the full moon. So if you are watching this as it's uploaded on the actual full moon in Taurus, this is really going to resonate with what's going on in the immediate surroundings right now. But regardless, it's still going to have a message for you. Doesn't matter. So let's get right into your reading. So the full moon, it can be an intense time. Can also give you clarity if you embrace the magic. Again, trusting your instincts through the madness, and your abilities are heightened at this time. So this is sort of the general theme of your reading, of your full moon reading. So let's see what the full moon has for you. Now, I have gone ahead and done a lot of shuffling for these beforehand, but I want to put your energy, pile 1 energy on this, so we'll do a little bit more. So we're going to start off with some oracle cards and get you some messages from the full moon, and then we shall move on with some tarot a little later on. All right. Let's see what your messages are. Start with the middle card. I'm going to pull these back a little bit so we have some more room. Okay. Don't let your past hold you back. That is South Node. And then we have Power, beautiful, number 16. Love that. And then your message from the unicorns are Pool of Christ, open your heart, spread unconditional love, 28 coming in. So the first message that we're getting for you, Pile 1, all you full mooners out there, is to, and that's kind of a beautiful way of putting it too, in a way, embrace your madness, embrace all aspects of self, but particularly the parts of yourself that you you held back a little bit, and also the parts of yourself that are sort of not just held back, but untamed. There's certain aspects of self that you've brought forward and you've been sort of working with them and integrating them and figuring things out. And this is a wonderful thing to do. And it's not that these are hidden parts of you or deep into shadow work, as we say on this channel all the time. Don't go down the rabbit hole of constantly thinking that you need to heal. This is not one of those moments. But this is the untamed parts of yourself. There's an aspect of you that is very aware of the external world and very aware of sort of who you are. And you have this regal aspect to you, which is absolutely gorgeous. And people can really pick up on that. And it's extremely powerful too. There's a humbling aspect to you that's really wonderful. But the other side of that, it's neither bad nor good. It just exists, that there's a part of you that's quite contained, that allows for you to sort of release all of your personality when you feel as though it's time or when you feel safe. But there's an untamed part of you that's always trying to figure out the right way to say things and to sort of vetting yourself before it sort of comes out and making sure. And it's not because you want to necessarily please everybody. There might have been an aspect to that in your personality in the past, but you've moved through that. It's not that. It's just that as you're working through your energy, as you are heightening and really bringing up your vibration and really working on your vibration, staying constantly high, you are really understanding that your words are very powerful. So as they come out, you're making sure that they're coming out in a certain way. How do we put this? You're making sure that they come out in a certain way, which is absolutely beautiful, right? And it's not because you don't want to offend anyone. I mean, you definitely don't want to offend anyone, but it's not because you're holding back in some way. It's because you're trying to be really conscious in the moment of the language that you use. But it's almost like you're overthinking it, and you're sort of not playing to those untamed parts of you. There's still a moment, a little aspect of you that needs to trust yourself, that when you articulate yourself, it's going to be fine no matter what. And it will land the way it lands. And if people are offended, they will be offended, because there's an aspect of you that's a real straight shooter, right? It really is. You see the truth in absolutely everything. We're talking about universal truth too. Everybody has their own sense of reality, and you do too. You can see everybody else's sort of crystallized, sense of reality, whereas yours is sort of free moving. It can move and it's flexible, and that's fine. And that's a beautiful way to be for you, because as you're moving up, you want to remain flexible, but it's almost like you're sort of holding a little part of yourself back because you don't want to offend anyone, because you don't want to slow yourself down and have to deal with it. It's not that you're afraid of offending anyone or anything like that, but this is really about sort of really getting into that. You've got this wild side to you. When it's integrated, it's really fun. And this sort of untamed side that really wants to come out and is asking to come out too. So embracing the madness for you is absolutely brilliant. And however it comes out, it comes out. Now, you know, because you've been vetting yourself a little bit, if sometimes it comes out really, really sort of, oh my God, it came out a little too hectic or a little too more than I thought it would. Trust yourself as you move into this, and as you start just really allowing yourself to articulate just the way you want to, and not worrying so much about how the words or how your articulations are falling or being perceived on the other side. You know, like we said, if things come out first of all and you're like, oh, I can't believe I said it like that, that's fine. You'll get used to it. It's just that there's this sort of a recovery period, a little bit at the beginning of really honing in on your voice. But there's a part of you that's really fun. that's being pulled back a little bit. And it's that part of you that's really actively within your heart chakra and really actively connected to your soul and your solar plexus too, the I am chakra, this is who I am, and your intuition too. It's innately sort of integrated in that. And it's a safe time for you to do that, to show this madness. And when we say madness, it's not absolutely mad, but saying things how they are, just putting your absolute kind of opinion out there, regardless of what the 5D version of it is, because you have that version of it too. Because we want to remind you that the 5D version is absolutely wonderful, and showing up for people in the 5D, because a lot of you are already moving into that, is great. And we always talk about the macro version, or the objectivity of being able to see everything in its totality. A lot of people are operating from a very small way of seeing things, and that's totally fine. But when you see things sort of from the macro version, everything sort of falls into place and all the chaos sort of makes sense, So there's a wonderful way that you're doing that. But also you can really speak to people at the moment, that people who are moving through the 3D and the 4D, the way in which you articulate yourself, that's not 5D. That's really fun. That says it like it is. And, somebody will be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. I was just thinking that. I'm glad she said it. That's amazing. And this is how you're going to put out your energy to attract bring in your soul family too, because these are the essences of your personality that make you authentic, that make you brilliant, right? So, and this is nothing that you're doing that's going to be really offensive or anything like that. But there's a regal part of you that really wants to hold back and make sure that everybody's okay and is careful about how you articulate things. And again, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. There's just a little part of you that's waiting to have a little bit of fun, right? To put yourself out there. And it's great to have an opinion, because for you can shift and change your opinion. And again, that opinion can appeal to other people who can bring you in to the way in which you articulate. And once you have their attention, you can bring them up to 5D. It doesn't have to be 5D right now. It doesn't always have to be 5D. Remaining in the 5D sometimes is not honoring an aspect of yourself that's still trying to integrate. So this could be a really fun exercise for you too. And again, this is not about like being rude or nasty or anything like that. This is just about having this fun and stepping into this authenticity. But there's an essence of you that has this sort of, I call it real talk, and the way in which you say it can be a little bit hard hitting, but the right people are going to get that message, and the right people need to hear it that way. So, not pulling back from that and sort of honoring that madness, as you call it, because an aspect of you might feel as though it's madness. And some of you's grown out of that understanding. Some of you may have had that shock value before. You said something and you knew it was sort of shocking, and you got attention that way. And it's not that you were attention, you needed that attention. It wasn't done for that, but it's how you got people to pay attention to you, or how specifically you were seen in the world, because the way in which you articulate yourself when you're being really authentic and this sort of quirkiness gets people attention, and then the right people come and sit next to you, and you were able to do that and make that work for you in many ways. But as soon as you got to a certain point where you elevated your vibration, which again is wonderful, congratulations, and sort of solidified it to a certain point, that part of you sort of fell away a little bit, but it wasn't fully integrated. So this is a message from the full moon to really go for that lunacy. And again, once it's fully integrated, it's going to be integrated into this manner of authenticity that's going to be really, really fun for you. Really fun. It's not going to be used necessarily or be quite the same way that you had this in and around you, the way in which you spoke before. So it's still a new way, it's still a new platform for you. But there's of articulation, but there's a way to integrate it and really have some fun with this. So yeah, a lot of you have this sort of dark sense of humor. I know there's so much going on right now with people being, somebody says something and 3 million people jump on it, and it's like it's a little overwhelming at times. So totally understand why you would want to maybe not, but at the same time, whatever, who cares? This is a part of you that has something to say, and it's a really funny, authentic part of you. And also it's about clicking into and honoring those parts of yourself that have yet to be completely integrated. And it's going to help you sort of keep that vibrancy, that frequency that you've got going on, which is beautiful, a little bit higher. Stay in the consistent mode. Yeah, you've got that moon. The moon card keeps coming up. My goodness. On Wednesday, I have Witchy Wednesday. If you're not following me on Instagram, you might want to do that because it's really fun. And we do a pick a card reading on Wednesday, and the moon card came up, and then it came up again that evening. And then I wrote a personal blog post about that the next day. So the moon card is in and around, and it's, obviously we have the moon phase reading, so of course it's going to come up, I guess. But it's also this energy of like whatever was in sort of not in the darkness, but in the illumination of something, but being brought up to the heights of, so you can see it and integrate it. So it's not, again, it's not going down the rabbit hole. It's not digging deep into your shadow work or anything like that. It's honoring something that's still in the shadows, but up from the darkness. And again, bringing it up and integrating it. So you can just sort of feel really like yourself, because some of you are feeling a little bit lost because a lot of your personality is shifting or falling away. This could be a really great way for you to integrate this aspect of yourself. But again, it gets heightened. It sort of grows, and it's gonna produce an aspect or a personality within you that's a little bit different to how it was. It's going to operate differently than how it did before. So this is an excellent way to bring a little part of yourself back, because some of you are feeling like, oh, this is great. I mean, I love feeling this way. I love being in this vibration, but there's an aspect of me that I don't really recognize anymore. And that can be a little sad. I mean, we don't talk about this in spirituality that often. Insofar as when things fall away, it can be a little bit painful. Even if some of that stuff that's fallen away is dark and we don't need it, and we've grown out of it, and it was bad programming, it was still comfortable, right? It was still comfortable. So this is a way to bring something back that's healthy, but fun, integrated differently, and feel like yourself, but at the same time opening up that flexibility. So you're not yourself, you are different, you are moving in that direction of being different. And you've got the Seven of Swords here under power, and you've got the four of Cups here with the Pool of Christ opening your heart. So this is about the unconditional love too. This is about seeing yourself, and again, in this totality, this is about honoring every aspect of yourself, and parts of yourself that you dumbed down, or parts of yourself that you only brought out in special occasions. Your inner child was part of that too, but you integrated that, and moving in, helping with this process. Your inner child would be great to integrate really fully or rely on at this point, because they're going to have a lot of fun doing this. And also, we want to remember that your intuition is absolutely brilliant. Your ability to read a room is incredible, to the point where you can read a room and you can feel like something off is going on. You don't know what it is about this person, but there's something, you've got this. So you're going to be able to read a room. There's still a part of you that's going to be like, maybe this isn't the right thing to say right now, but just loosening that up and just having that come out, that quirky side of your personality, that beautiful side of that personality, that part of your personality that tells the truth. And that truth can shift with each person. But, you're the sort of person that somebody will come for a straight chat. Now, you don't always do that with yourself, but you can do that for other people. Now, not everybody wants to hear that. That's fine. Not everybody is able to take on that kind of information. But again, you'll be able to read the room. But at this moment, you're holding yourself back from any of it coming back, really. There's a part of you that you've sort of held back, and you're feeling it. You're feeling it. And again, you want to click back into your intuition and click back into that beauty of who you are. And there's no reason to, as you ascend, there's no reason to lose absolutely every part of you, right? Certain aspects of personality, certain aspects of what you saw before in your programming does fall away. But this is a way for you to sort of integrate on your own terms and coming back to like having some fun. But again, it's not about going into the darkness or doing the deep night of the soul. It's really just about whatever's there is already illuminated by the moonlight. It's just bringing it to the forefront and having some fun, and also really understanding that the way in which, like, some of you really have a thing about not wanting to offend anyone. And for some of you, it's been because of the way you've been treated and the way you've been projected upon. So this is old programming coming up. But again, it's ready to be released. You don't need to do any more work. But some of you, it's because you just don't want to deal with the way that people do not know how to deal with their emotions, right? They just project and you've had so many people project upon you and just, gush all this crap out of you. And you just don't want to deal with it, right? So you put that aspect, you put that right back into the box. So you have that ability to kind of trigger people in some way. Some of you even have trickster energy where you can walk into a room and trigger people, right? So you know, you don't want to trigger people anymore. So this is, you just put that aspect of yourself away because you just don't want to deal with it. But this is just a part where, I mean, you can say it that everybody's being triggered right at this moment right now. So you might as well do it. Just get out there and be who you are. But what it is, it really hones in your authenticity again. It really hones in on what you are and what you stand for and who you are and what your truth is in this lifetime. And that's the last part of this ascending, solidifying that in your foundation. This is the last piece of it. And you've done so much work in integrating all of these fragmented parts and bringing them back, because a lot of you are old souls and you've had a lot of stuff that you've had to go through. This is just a small aspect that you can do that bring back the joy and bring back who you are, and get a little silly. Some of you, it's not even like just real talk. It's just the silliness that you have, but you want to be taken seriously because in the past that you weren't. You know, you were overseen or people didn't see you, and you want to be seen. You don't want to be seen as immature, this, that, and the other. But there is that aspect of you that wants to play. Let it all out. Again, embrace the madness. This is the last click for you to come in, embracing all aspects of yourself. But again, don't go down that rabbit hole. There's not more that you need to do. It's right there. It's been discovered. It's just about bringing it up. That sort of, if you want to call it the immature part of yourself, absolutely. You've had to be, you know, that mature aspect of you that entire time, taking yourself so seriously, putting yourself out there, doing this. You know, it's okay to be immature sometimes. It's okay to have that fun stuff going on too. It's okay to do that real talk or to stand for something. You know, it's okay to do all of that and bring it all in the same sentence. And again, that's how you're going to bring in these beautiful connections with your soul family or new members of your soul family coming in, because they'll be able to see, oh, that girl's got or that fella's got a nice sixth sense of humor. I'm going to sit next to them. What is that in that movie? It's Steel Magnolias. I can't remember the character. Is it Weezer? I can't remember, but she says, if you've got nothing good to say, come sit by me. You know, do a little bit of that. It's good for you. Do a little bit of that. You know, it's like, you know, everybody gossips, everybody does something. You don't need to be nasty about it, but it's all about embracing all aspects of yourself and coming back to that fun-loving part, that sort of on that badass part that needs to, you know, put people in their place, whatever they need to do, say it how it is. There's different aspects of this coming in with your voice, but how you articulate is coming up. Again, embrace your madness. It's not even madness, but embrace this part of yourself. It's going to bring you to sort of new heights of communication and new heights of really feeling confident in yourself and knowing who you are. It's really going to open up some doors for you. So this is your full moon reading, your full moon Moony. I don't know where that came from. Your full moon reading, Pile 1, all you full mooners out there. So we are sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. If you like these readings and you feel as though this is energy that you wouldn't mind having around you 2 or 3 times a week, then do feel free to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and click that like button and the bell notification so you can always be notified when these readings come up, usually in the morning. We would love to have you if you're not already part of our little group here on the Ethernet, internet, whatever it is, our unicorn-based, fun-loving group. So here we have, take care until we meet again, Pile 1, or all you full mooners out there. Go be you in every aspect of yourself. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, lovely Pile 2s. If you chose the rainbow, we still have our magic candle. I'll just put that back so we have enough room for all of your glorious cards. So your reading is which moon phase has a message for you. So if you chose Pile 2, aka the rainbow, then the big reveal is you are new mooners. So your phase is new moon. You've got some shadow work, some integrating dark sides of the ego work. This cycle brings around great power, new beginnings, and setting intentions for your future. So let's get right into your moon reading. So I have already shuffled these for the readings, but I'm going to shuffle them specifically for your energy and the new moon energy. So we're going to start off with some oracle and move on to some tarot. So with the new moon, with the shadow work and the integrating and new beginnings and setting intentions for your future, that is going to be your sort of crux of, or the whatever's going on, the theme for the most part of your messages here. But we're going to get you some specifics. Let's start with the middle card because that seems fun. Okay, conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. Wonderful. And we do have a full moon eclipse tomorrow, even though you are new mooners. I love this card. That's beautiful. So yeah, new beginnings for sure. New beginnings for sure. You've got peace, gorgeousness, and then your messages from the unicorns. 29. Build your light body, accelerate your ascension. Beautiful. Love that. So without a shadow of a doubt, you are moving on to new heights, new beginnings. You are leaving behind old thought forms and old patterns, and specifically old programmings. You're seeing how a lot of this old stuff, the way in which you viewed things before, and you sort of worked with them in society, are falling away. Some of you are even, and this might even just be for some of you, right? Some of you are even figuring out that the way in which you think about aging is a little bit different. Now, that's pretty specific. So again, this message might be for some of you, but it's not even about being ashamed of aging. I know that we have some of that in the Western society, which is a little bit of a shame. Like my mother was South American, so being brought up in my household, which is a very matriarchal household, I mean, nobody really got a say in the family until you were 40. So I never really up with that, with this aging, but you're starting to really understand that. And it's not that, you're ashamed of aging or this, that, and the other. You're perfectly fine with all of it, everything that you've been through. But there was an essence of you that didn't feel as though there was enough time. So the aging process sometimes came in for some of you and freaked you. Oh, I still haven't done this, or I still haven't done that. It's not like what you look like or this, that, and the other. So it's not the traditional way of sort of being ashamed of aging. It just reminds you of time. And it reminds you that, or it did remind you that, there's still stuff for you to do. And for some of you, you're late bloomers. So you were hooked on the element of time and how that should manifest, and how time is working for you, or not even working against you, but maybe making sure that time is working for you. So that the way in which you even see aging now is shifting, because the way in which you see time is completely shifting. So that's something that's part of the ascension process too, which takes a little bit of pressure off, right? That's really nice. And that's the new beginning also, understanding that there is a divine timing element to who you are, what you're supposed to do in this lifetime. And again, being a late bloomer, as a reminder, in this lifetime does not mean that you are going to be left behind. It just means that people work at different rates, and some of the people that have achieved what it is that you think that you want to achieve, and you will, you might be able to, and probably will be able to, overtake that. It's not that you're going to be starting from the bottom now that you're here. It's just that you can accelerate your success in a very specific way and still end up pretty much the same as everybody else, right? In many ways, if you're comparing yourself to the regular world, which is not going to do you any good. And if you've done that, it's driven you nuts. But just to give you a really clear-cut indication of specifics of what's going on. So even though you're late bloomers, it really doesn't matter. The divine timing is working within you, and everything can be accelerated. And sometimes when you have sort of a timeout and things don't feel as though they're moving forward, it's because it's preparing you for a lot of things coming in very quickly. Your life, a lot of people sort of move up very slowly, or they move up in a certain direction. They go and they do this and they do this. And there's a sort of a timeline. There's a real timeline to their life. And, and it feels right. It's what society wants. It's what they're doing. And that's wonderful if that's the way they've done it. And in some ways it's, for some of you, you've been in awe of that, because that's not the way that you've worked. Some things some things for you come a little bit slower. Sometimes it's really quick and your life can change on a dime. And the way in which you work with time, or the way in which you've manifested your energy with time, has been very different in this lifetime. And that's not going to change. So embracing that is wonderful. And this is something that you've done, where you've really understood at a core level that you're just not going to use time or timeline the same way as everybody else. So comparing yourself to the way that other people sort of build up their businesses or build up their lives is not how you're going to do it. So that's something that you've come into contact with. And it's sort of a big deal, really, because it's given you sort of this piece to really understand how your life is unfolding. And also the other thing is, again, to reiterate, the way in which you've really tried to not compare yourself to other people. But people say this all the time, find somebody in the world that you admire, and they have the same kind of career or aspects or goals as you do. and see what they've done and kind of copy that a little bit. But there's no one out there that's really doing what you're doing, not in the totality of it. So there's no one that you can compare yourself to. So that's been a little bit, the way in which you've moved in the world has been a little bit different for you than everybody else. And at times it's been quite frustrating, and at times it's been lonely, and it's been isolating, because you've got no one out there that you can say, that I love what they're doing there, and I love what they're doing there, and I can put it all together, and that's great. But no one really shows me, no one's really done what I'm doing, the kind of life that I'm doing, right? And that's because the world wasn't really ready for it. So the way in which you've had times out, or, if you've been feeling recently that, oh my goodness, things aren't moving, is that there are timelines that are being put into place for you. And also the way in which you're moving in the world and what you are going to achieve and the way you're going to achieve it hasn't really been done before. We've just moved into the age of Aquarius. Times are changing, energy is changing. Whatever you want can be fast-tracked now. It wouldn't have been able to do it before. And in fact, when you tried to, you either sort of fell flat, or you came up with a sort of frustrating results, or at the very last minute, you thought you were on track, and then somehow you got pulled off in some weird direction. And you're like, I don't know how I'm here, and now I've got to get it. I don't want to do this. This is not exactly what I wanted. Maybe I thought I wanted it, but I didn't. So the fast tracking, the way in which you're working with timelines, the way in which you're working with time, the way in which you're understanding that what you're doing or what you're going to do or integrate into the world, the way in which you're going to do it hasn't really been done before. So it's about not looking to the external for any kind of validation or even any kind of guidance, really, but really trusting your inner guidance system and knowing that that's enough. Now, your guides did not put you here. Your ancestors did not put you here in this lifetime, knowing that you could do, because you were chosen by your ancestors to do this work. You've been, this is not your first rodeo, as we say here all the time. You've done this in past lives. You've been leading up to this. You knew what this was going to be in the new earth. You decided to come down and do this work because you knew you could do it. You've also been training for many lifetimes to be able to do this. This is definitely not your first rodeo. So you've got amazing ancestors. You've got extremely powerful guides. You've never been on your own doing this work. There's no way they would leave you on your own doing this work, because you've had some pretty hard karma to get through. And there were some real dark nights of the souls where, for some of you, trigger warning, and we hope this is okay with you, but for some of you, you didn't know if you were going to make it out. It was really deep. It was really dark. It was tough. And they never would have put you in that situation without that support. They wouldn't have done that. So you have these incredible guides, right? But also you've been working in the 3D world. Now you're shifting, you're excelling, and you've got this ascension. And you've been slowly moving up, although you've been really activated in the last 18 months, maybe 2 years. For some of you, 5 years of moving in, but accelerated in the last 18 months, right? The last 2 years. But before then, you were largely working in the 3D world because you had to work through all of that karma. So they never would have put you in this situation without all of this body of this, almost this army of protecting you. And when you look back on your life and all of the things that you went through, right? All of the situations that sometimes you put yourself into, some not so great situations, and you still came out and you were still okay. And when you look back and go, I shouldn't have gotten out of that, or I was really lucky, that's because of the protection measure you had from the beginning. And it's almost like your guys are like, oh, they're at it again. Let's go. Come on, lads, down the fire pole line, whatever that pole. Let's go to work. They were there to protect you no matter what. And you really did do things for the experiences at the beginning. For a lot of you, there was a wild child. There was a wild aspect of you really pushing the version of you that was in the 3D world to see how far you could go. And it's not like you weren't afraid of death necessarily, but it didn't bother you because there was an aspect of you deep, deep, deep. For some of you, it was quite subconscious, but for some of you, it was conscious enough for you to act on it, where you knew that you were going to live through it. You knew you were going to be okay. You couldn't necessarily feel your guides in and around you, but you felt that power. You felt like you were protected. You were going to be okay. So you really did put yourself into these situations that a lot of people wouldn't have. So when you look back on your life, for a lot of you, you've had some kind of wild existences, right? And not everybody lives that kind of life. You've had those experiences. You went into experiences just to experience them. And some of those experiences were hard, and they would have destroyed other people, but you did them just to see what it would feel like one way or another. There's an aspect of you that's quite divine in that way. Let's see what else we have for you. But as you're coming into this, the way in which you are measuring up again to time, the way in which you are seeing these timelines, you're really beginning to understand yourself in this new age of Aquarius, in this version of timelines that you can have. And also you've done so much work on releasing that you're not part of that old karma anymore. A lot of those soul contracts have just fallen away. You didn't really have to do a lot of it. Some of it was, putting up those boundaries, but there's a new sense of peace. There's a new sense of this brand new beginning coming in, which is really exciting. And it's not going to feel like it has before. You've had a lot of new beginnings. Pile 2, new mooners. You've had a lot of new beginnings, but this is different. This is definitely different. This is feeling different. Yeah, you've got the King of Cups here, with the conclusions are within reach. Oh, you've got that Ace of Pentacles, loving this, and you've got the Page of Pentacles, absolutely loving this with your build your light body. So you've still got a little bit to go. And again, we always say on the channel, don't go down the rabbit hole. This is not like, I've got this to heal, I've got that to heal. Not at all. It's just a matter of putting all these pieces together. But all these pieces are up, they're illuminated, they're ready to put together. And in fact, we're hoping that this piece of the puzzle will help you do that. But don't get caught up in what you think you need to be doing or how much healing you need to be doing or any of that stuff. But you have the divine masculine here. You have the passion to be able to move forward. You have that emotionality, that vulnerability of really claiming those aspects of yourself and getting that beautiful empathic stage that you've got. You're so empathic and really, really sensitive. And you've often used it in the world to protect yourself, but you haven't often used it for yourself to put yourself forward in a very, very specific way. Now, some of you may even have thought, if I use it to my own good, then this is not a good way to be. And let's explain that. And the easiest way to explain it is that, in spell work, for instance, like people who do spell work, and it's, just part of manifestation. Some people, like in the Wicca community or in spellcraft or in witchcraft, don't do spell work. And the reason why they decide not to do it is because they don't feel as though it's fair on anyone else. If they're using their energy to get what they want, then they might be taking it away from someone else. Now, I'm not going to talk about this or go down the rabbit hole with that, but that's a very specific way of seeing spell work. There's other ways of doing it, and there's other ways of seeing it also. But just to be clear, using your empathic stage, using your powers to put you ahead is something that you wouldn't naturally do, but you'll use it to help other people. If somebody comes to you and they need something, whatever, what it is that they need at that time, this, that, and that, whatever it is, you're there for them. And whatever it is that when you put yourself sort of making sure that it's for the highest good, then obviously you'll use this empathic stuff. But also, you've not really used it or utilized it in the way that you could do to really completely heal. The way in which you've healed has been incremental, and it's been tough on you, the healing. You've done the healing well, and you've healed at the core level for sure, but you've made the healing a little bit more difficult for yourself. And that's totally fine. That's the way you've done it. And there's a beautiful arc to that too, because there's no experience that you've not felt. It doesn't mean that you've had everybody else's life and you know exactly what everybody else has gone through, but you can have enough compassion for people when they come to you to really give space to what they've been through and not have to project how you feel as though they should have acted or this, that, and the other, because you have this beautiful empathic nature, because you've felt everything, right? So it worked in your favor to be able to heal like that. But the reason why you did it too is because there's almost an element, a little bit of fear for some of you about using your own power to heal yourself, to work your own agenda or to put yourself forward. But actually, that's what you're here to do. Now, for some of you in past lives, you may have used your powers not necessarily for the greater good. Now, that's fine. We've all had, this idea that, we've come in and we've had all these past lives and we were angels and, princesses, and we were right out bollockses in past lives. We probably were. A lot of us were. And that's part of our DNA, that we've been through and had all these different experiences. And in the next lifetime, you make sure that you're not going to do that. So just because you've had a past life where you were a bit of a bollocks doesn't mean that you're going to be a bit of a bollocks in this lifetime. But there's a memory, a DNA memory of that could be activated when you feel as though you're using something to put you first, to put your energy first. And that's just not how it needs to be. Because by using all of your empathic nature to really hone in on who you are and put your energy first, you still have the greater good as, as a support system. You always do things for the greater good. Everything that you're putting yourself in line for also has the greater good in line with it. So you don't have to worry about doing this or putting your energy or using your gifts to put yourself forward. It's not like you're going to go off and you're going to be corrupted. You're not here to be corrupted in this lifetime. And these are your gifts. You have every right to use them the way that you want. And again, the greater good is still there. It's very much supporting what you're doing, but it's not selfish. Some of you are still having a hard time putting yourself first. You've worked really hard on this and you've done this, but you also really deserve that recognition. You also really deserve to thrive in what it is that you've decided to do in this lifetime. And again, you're worthy of it. It's not that you don't have the talent. It's not that you don't have the drive. It's nothing. It's just about really owning your power and putting all of the power that you do to support the greater good or the universe or the collective, putting that power behind you specifically and allowing this new beginning to really click in and move you further than you thought you could have, because this is what you're here to do. And this is your conclusion that's within reach. It's time that you put yourself first. It's time that you put your energy first and you use every ounce of what you have to be, literally put behind your gifts and put you forward and say, yeah, I am really good at this. And you know what? I might be better at this than other people. It's okay to say that obviously you're very humble and this is not about ego. But for you to get yourself in line with this energy, just saying it to yourself is really important. I have as much to say, if not a better way of articulating all of this than millions of people out there. I should be out there doing this, and really put your energy first and really hone in on that power that you have. It's absolutely beautiful. It's sort of the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle, and really having that confidence in yourself, because there's a little bit of you that still, you get to the edge of like sensing that new beginning, sensing that things are going to take off for you, sensing that things are going to be big. And you it's not that you don't feel as though you deserve it. You do feel as though you deserve it. You've worked on that. Again, you don't need to go down the rabbit hole with that. You do feel as though you deserve it. It's not really that. The last piece of the puzzle is putting yourself out there and claiming it. And you're not used to doing that in that way. Now, in the past, you would have used all of your intuition kind of just to stay alive, just to sort of be on the survival aspect of things. But now you've turned the dial. You're in thriving now. Use all of that information, all of that gorgeousness, all of that power, all of that empathy, but also that intuition that you have of knowing the right time for something, knowing who to go to, knowing how to present something. You know how to click into situations because of your deep empathy. You can read people in the room, and yes, you can use that to your advantage. There's nothing wrong with doing that and heightening and highlighting how you do that to move forward. It's called, in the business world, it's just called smarts, right? So you're not like taking it away from anyone else. You're not going to be corrupted by doing this. There's nothing wrong by doing any of that. Really standing in that energy and owning it and just moving into that energy and claiming all of that. Now, there's a mysterious, beautiful part of you, and there's also a very interesting part of you that knows how to like work in these business sense, knows how to speak to people, knows how to charm people. And, at certain times in your life, you've done that and it's worked successfully. So this is just a matter of taking that aspect of yourself, integrating it fully and really allowing it to take hold, because that smarts that you have is going to take you to the next level and pull you through this new beginning that you have to new heights that you want. And everything that you want is all within reach, and it's about you actually claiming it in your own way, because the universe is going to meet you halfway with the energy that you're putting out there. But some of you are pulling back because you're wondering, it's great to be magnetic. It's great to have all of that. You've worked with your intuition. You're a magnetic, letting all these, letting things come to you, all of that. But you're being asked to step up and work with the divine feminine, work with the divine masculine particularly, and really step into this confident role of, I've got this, I'm doing this, I'm using all of my attributes. Everything that I've used for the collective, I'm now going to use for myself to put myself forward. And that is how you help the collective even more, by actually putting yourself forward, putting yourself as the priority, and achieving what it is that you want, using your own smarts in your own way. So that's a beautiful reading for you, pile 2. That's what we have for you. We sincerely hope it resonated. And of course, if it did resonate and you feel like you would like more of these readings, more of these energies in your life, you can follow me on Instagram. And of course, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button and that bell icon too, so you can be notified every time a new beautiful reading comes out, 2 to 3 times a week. I'm trying to do 3 times a week till the end of the year, and then we'll see in 2022 what that year brings for us. But for now, 3 times a week. We are sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Go be you. Put your energy forward and really step into that new beginning the way that you want to. You absolutely deserve this. And this is without a doubt your time. Pile 2, all you new mooners. So go get your life. Bye-bye. All of you gorgeous pile 3s, we just put the magic candle a little bit further back so we have more room for your reading. So if you chose pile 3, this beautiful moon symbol, you are the waning moon, which is banishing, cleansing, getting rid of unwanted energy. This moon aids in quick removal, real quick, get out what no longer serves. So this is going to be the energy of your reading. That's what you chose. We're going to start off with our oracle cards. Now, I did shuffle these cards for the reading, all of the piles, but I'm going to shuffle them a little bit specifically for you. So we're going to start off with a couple of oracle readings, and then we're going to move on to the old tarot. So that is going to be the theme for your gorgeous reading here. So let's see what we have for you. Pile 3, all you waning mooners. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. So let's start off with the middle card. You've got a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. Gorgeous. Look at that. And then you've got will, the will card, and number 13. And then you've got 14 to stand in your power, be passionate about your vision, bring about positive change. So there's definitely this incremental change of moving on up. New cycles beginning without a shadow of a doubt, and moving forward quicker, being very, very clear about what it is that you want. Or for some of you, being very, very clear about what you don't want. Sometimes as we move forward, to be clear about what we don't want actually gives us more information about what we do want. Right? Because what we do want sometimes is clouded by what we think we should get, or sometimes our programming, or various different things. But when we really clear out what we don't want, it leaves us very clear to our core what it is that we're looking for, and then we sort of bring in what we do want. So this is something that's happening for you, and things are happening quite quickly for you. Luck seems to be on your side. You've had a lot of sort of ups and downs, like, 5 steps forward, 3 steps backwards, going forwards and backwards, but at the same time, you do feel as though when you level out, you are further than you were before. But some of you have been a little bit disappointed about how far you've come, because with all the ups and downs, you feel as though you should be a little bit farther. So when it all peters out and it levels out, you don't feel as though you're as far along as you should have. Now, there's a divine timing aspect to a lot of the starseeds and what they're doing. And everybody is here and has their own different blueprint. Now, a lot of blueprints have been individually activated, whereas before, everybody was sort of working the last 2 years. Some starseeds or light workers were working sort of more for the collective. And a lot of the starseeds and light workers were working for the collective, but they have other things that they're doing now. They've moved off and clicked off into their own individual way. So there's a divine timing aspect to who you were, or what you were here to do. So there's a reason why you didn't sort of move forward at the speed of light, where other people seem to have sort of fallen on their feet, even starseeds around you, or people seem to have sort of figured things out and got seemingly a little bit further on than you. And it's not that you're comparing yourself in any way, shape, or form necessarily. It's just that you want to move through this sort of feeling as though you're either stuck or not stuck, but in the void sort of moment. And you did enjoy the void kind of moment for a while, because it's a resting period, right? It's a place where you can rest and you can recuperate, but it's also a place where you can be completely protected, and in that time and space you really get to have that energy back for yourself. And there was a lot of energy that was being extracted as you were transmuting and doing all of that work, that other work. So you were happy with that, but then you felt as though you stayed in that sort of void energy a little bit longer when other people seem to have moved out of it a little bit. So this is a brand new beginning for you moving forward, but it's also an accelerated beginning. So for those of you who felt as though you were in the void maybe a little bit too long, there is a reason for that, because things are going to pick up really, really quickly. So in the void, we get to be quiet. We get to really look within. We get to not just look within. It's not necessarily even about healing. It's a holding place. It's a place for you to really be at one with yourself and really have the time to sort of slow down and really understand who you are and really come to terms with who you are and really solidify and honor who you are in that void place. So even though you didn't feel as though you were using, maybe you were using the void place in a little bit of a different way. You were seeing the void circumstance in a little bit of a different way. So you were getting angry or frustrated because you felt as though you weren't moving forward. But that's an important place to be, because honoring yourself in that protective form doesn't really happen in the external world in the same way when you're moving in this accelerated direction that you will be. So that was a place for you to do that work. And you did do that work. You realized that that's the work that you were doing, but you also wanted to be out there doing other things. And then you were confused when you were trying to figure out what it is that you wanted to do. But this is a place for you to really come back to who you are and honor every aspect of yourself. There were certain aspects of self that you really held in high esteem, and there are ones that you were not so proud of. And, that full integration is coming in, because those other parts of you that you weren't so proud of were the parts of you that kept you alive, that kept you in survival mode, but kept you alive and kept you really at this baseline understanding of who you were in this real core level. And a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people are trying to really ascend and do this. And all of that is wonderful. We all want to wake up and this, that, and the other. But what a lot of people aren't necessarily doing, they're not looking at the core aspects of themselves, the real 3D aspect. They want to move to the 4D. They want to do this, but they're not really necessarily looking within and looking at the conflict within and doing all of that sort of inner work. They're still out on the external. And again, everybody has their own way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, everybody does things differently. It all evens out in the end. But that's not the way that you did it. You were absolutely in charge of, integrated with, really understood the sort of core level, basic urge, kind of the id kind of aspect of self that got down and dirty and all of that stuff that a lot of people are quite ashamed of, or a lot of people don't want to deal with, which is why it's easier to deal with the external, because if you deal with the external, it's going to heal you on the inside, right? It can work that way, but it's kind of a cockamamie way of doing it, right? It's quicker to do it from the inside out, but it's a lot harder to do it that way, right? It requires a vast amount of huge being responsible for your own energy, being responsible for everything that you say and do. And, in the 3D world, very few people, sort of are conscious to do that, right? We're coming into that consciousness and we're getting it. It can't come out of nowhere. We've got to solidify and move through it. Everybody is doing their best. But this is something that you knew intrinsically, and it's kind of brilliant, because all of that baseline stuff that people are innately a little bit afraid of in themselves, but they've gotten to the point where, should I go in there and do the dark night of the soul? This could be intense. You've already done all of that, right? So you really have healed from, the lower aspects of self all the way up to the high. You've done this work. You've really, really done it. So yeah, things could have looked as though they were taking a little bit longer. Your timeline was a little bit different because you did things not even the right way necessarily, but you did things, you did it, right? You absolutely did it. So the last 2 years and the way in which you worked spiritually in the last 2 years would have been quite different to the way other people were working in the last 2 years, because other people are working through the baseline stuff that, needed to work through and slowly working up that way, which is a wonderful way of doing it. because you've got to do it. You've got to get through that baseline stuff. You've got to really look into the deep, dark places of that and that subconscious. Otherwise, it rules you, right? And people keep talking about law of attraction all the time. And the reason why we need to understand law of attraction is because whether you realize it or not, you're attracting. We only talk about it with attracting what we want. But if we're not aware of all this baseline stuff that's, that can remain hidden, if we're not working through it, then we are attracting from that baseline. So, and we're attracting more of what we don't want. So you've been working with all of that, and it's taken this timeline, and for some of you it's taken a little bit of a toll, because you're looking around and people are out there doing the action, which is, again, great, wonderful. Welcome to their world. That's what they're doing. But you couldn't compare yourself to that, because that's not where you're at. So the last 18 months, 2 years has been a lot more different for you, the way in which you've moved with your energy, the way in which you've worked with your energy, the way in which you've transmuted your energy. Some of you could have felt quite isolated because you didn't feel as though you were the norm. There's a lot of people thinking this and a lot of people thinking that, and you're thinking this. You're the third option. Where's the third option? We know the two options out there. There's a lot of different, these two options out there. There's a lot of, one side against the other side, or this, that, and the other. We're coming out of that now, but there was a lot of that. But you were always the third option. So you didn't see that a lot in society. We're starting to see it a lot more now, and that's really encouraging. It's really beautiful. And we all knew we'd get there in the end, but you were the third option kind of from the beginning. So there was this loner part of you that was like, I got nothing to compare this to. Am I okay? Is this right? Am I doing okay? So you needed that time out. You needed all of that to solidify all of that. Now people are catching up a little bit. So there are third options out there. There's the third option is rising, and that's the wonderful third option, which is the macro version of looking over everything and seeing everything for what it is, and everything's got its own place, and you don't have to choose sides. That's the amazing part of it, right? So it's coming in. It's absolutely coming in, and it's building momentum. But you had this third option all along. So having that time out was really important for you to nurture yourself, to be in there. Yeah, of course you wanted to be out there doing your thing. Who wouldn't want to be? But also it was really important for you to nurture yourself, to really allow in your beautiful, very powerful guides who were helping you through this, because they were in and around you, guiding you and really working with your ascension. So, you wanted to pull back a little bit and wanted to see this on your own, because there weren't a lot of people out there that could sort of solidify what you were feeling, because people weren't there yet. And again, I want to be clear. It's not about anybody's above or below anybody else. It's not about that. We all have our own way. And again, based on karma, individuality, free will, what we have in this lifetime, what's activated in your blueprint, how far along based on your past lives and what you've been through. Everybody has their own version of how they're going to heal or move through, or not at all. Earth is a free will zone. Not everybody is going to, sort of move into this ascension process. And that's absolutely up to them. Honor that without a shadow of a doubt. But everybody is doing this completely differently based on where they are at. And there just weren't a lot of people who were doing it at your level at that time. But now everybody's catching up. Now you can see, sort of mirroring who you are and the essence of what you are and your transmuted energy. You get to see that mirrored and speckled throughout sort of the world and the internet and everywhere now. So you don't feel so alone. Now the accelerated rate can happen. You've got the chariot. Come on. We just said that. A new moon cycle, a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. This is accelerated rate now that you can do that. And some of it is having that confidence, seeing yourself, seeing your energy out there and knowing that you're not the only one. And it's not like you need people to validate you or anything like that. But, as we create new consciousness, in the reality, in the fabric of our reality, as we're coming into this new earth, there's new timelines being created. There's new consciousness being created. If you're the one that's holding that timeline together, it's weary work, right? Other people are coming in, and then you get to build it, and then you get really excited, and then that's the world that you want to live in. So this is the time to be that chariot and go out there and do what you wanted to do. There was a part of you that was like, I want to be out there and I want to do it, but the reason why you didn't know what you wanted to do yet, or you were like, I think I want to do this, but I'm not 100% in, is because that world hadn't been created just yet. That timeline wasn't set just yet, but it is now, and it's just building and it's growing and it's beautiful and it's exactly where it needs to be. And it's just gonna, yeah, Knight of Swords, absolutely. What have we got here for Will? High Priestess, gorgeousness. You know, you've got this beautiful divine masculine, divine feminine energy coming in. You've got the Christ consciousness energy that you have too, to move forward. And again, what it is that you wanted, or what you wanted to achieve, didn't quite exist yet. In the way that you wanted to do it, and now it does. The way in which you articulate, the way in which you see the world, the way in which your truth is, which again is universal truth, and the way in which you articulate that can actually be heard by some before. Whereas before, there was an inflexible nature going on, and people couldn't hear you. And it's not because they were being obtuse, it's just that everybody has to narrow everything down as part of the healing to really focus on certain aspects of that healing so they can move through it and really heal from that part of it. Like the baseline, you've already done the baseline. So sometimes being seemingly inflexible, I'm only seeing it one way, means that you've got to take everything out. First of all, you've got to take everything out, all the other options out. You've got to narrow your world just to be able to work through it. Some people do it that way. It's actually kind of a brilliant way of healing. But it looks a little bit different in the external world. But there's nothing wrong with that way of healing. You've just already done that. So this is a new timeline for you to move forward on. And also bring in your own unique gifts, bring in your authenticity, bring in the way in which you do articulate yourself in this brilliant, gorgeous way, which will now be heard and respected and understood, right? Whereas before it'd be like, who is this idiot? Choose this side or choose this side or get out of here. What the fuck's going on, you know? Now there's this other way of seeing things and we're moving into it. And now it's like, oh, I get it. No, I get that. I still want to do this. I don't quite agree with it. I still want to do this, but I kind of get it. And that's brilliant. That's all you need, just that openness for that. And now this third sort of cycle is really coming to play, and it's absolutely beautiful for you. Let's pull one more card for you. See if we can get you a little bit more information. Your information was a little bit more clear. Yes. So for you, I love the Two of Pentacles. Okay, Three of Pentacles too. All right. So for you, it's about, in a very sort of tactical way, it's about bringing in your gifts and seeing how you're going to work with them now. Now, whatever it is that you want to do might need just a little bit of tweak in perspective, or just a little bit more understanding of how you're going to put it out into the world. But it's absolutely a brilliant idea. Now, there's several different things that you want to do, and it won't be an amalgam bringing it all together. But a lot of you will be thinking about, because you think like this too, you don't want to just do one thing, you want to do this, that, and the other, and you're absolutely able to do it. Some people can just do one thing and concentrate on that and do it brilliantly, and some people thrive when there's 15 different things going on. You're the latter, right? But at the same time, if, you know, the 15 different things, you know, you'll work on one or two things and other things, you know, it's about the juggling act, and you know how to do that and keep it all afloat. But also you've got very quick minds. You get bored quite easily. And there's also a myriad of different things that you can do in this lifetime, and so many different gifts that you've brought in. So if you're not utilizing all of your gifts, even in different ways, but sort of at the same time, you can get very bored quite quickly. And you can be quite dangerous with your mind when you're a little bit bored, because you can turn it against yourself because you're very quick-minded. So it's good to keep yourself busy, and also to have that relaxation. Sometimes you've got to, you know, really make room for that, because when you go, you can go. But you absolutely have the infinity symbol here. So you're protected in everything that you want to do, and you're supported in everything that you want to do. And you're building this really great basis for you for whatever it is. As some of you are creative counselors, bringing it in, you know, keep reading, writing books, or writing your story, owning your narrative, whatever it is that you do. Some of you are channelers. Some of you are artists, visual artists, and working with film, photography, that sort of thing, but showing new, whatever it is that you're showing is beautiful. But there can be some heartbreaking elements to it too, because again, there's nothing about you that's afraid of going into the darkness and pulling out what we need to see. There's nothing, you know, whether you have Scorpio in your chart or not, there's nothing about you that doesn't do that. You're not afraid of that, right? Other people could have been afraid of you because they didn't want to do that work, and that's fine. It's hairy work. It's fearful work. It's nasty work. I totally understand. A lot of ugly crying. I totally understand why people don't want to do that work. You know what? And maybe they didn't sign up for it in this lifetime. We can't sit here and go, oh my God, I can't believe you're not doing this work. I can't believe you don't want to be spiritual. They didn't sign up for it in this lifetime. It's not in their blueprint. So that's it. End of story. Free will zone. So this is something that you can do. So really solidifying what you want to do now, being clear about what that is, again allowing in that sort of flexibility so it can go in any different direction, and allowing for it to sort of progress the way that it wants to, but being very clear about your idea, what it is that you want to achieve, and the kind of life that you want to get from it. And most of it will be in different directions, again with different things that you're doing, but it'll all be under the same umbrella, and it'll all be working for the greater good one way or another, whether you're focusing on different ways that you can bring in two collabs together, or a podcast and visual art together, things that don't normally go together. In some ways it doesn't feel as though it can go together, but you're going to bring it together. You're going to do that. Like whatever you do, there's a revolutionary aspect to your personality. You're able to see things differently, and this is what you're going to bring to whatever it is that you do. And people will want to be around you. People will want to buy your work. People will want to work with you. And they will see that. They will see that you are different, and you work differently. Again, not above or below, but just different. And you being clear and providing this like clear path for yourself finally to be exactly who you are and to be able to use your gifts at a whim is exactly what you want to do, because you've hidden your gifts. You've dumbed them down. You've been afraid of repercussions or this, that, and the other. You know, in past lives, there's probably an echo of, you know, being taken out for using your gifts or whatever it is. And you've had to really work through that. Being able to utilize every aspect of your gift in this beautiful lifetime, the way that you want to, is gorgeous. And once you give yourself that freedom to do that, again, accelerated path. And that's exactly what you're here to do. Give yourself that freedom to really open up to every aspect of your gift and let it shine. It's not going to look the same as anybody else. So again, as we said in Pal 2, whatever, don't dare compare yourself to anybody else and what they're doing. Even then, the essence of your messages may resonate because it sounds the same, because we're all working from collective energy. Still, the way in which you present it, the energy behind it will be original, right? So stay with it. You've got this. You are fast tracking onto this beautiful, it's not even a new timeline. You're already firmly on that timeline. It's just a matter of getting on that bike and zooming forward, or a motorcycle for some of you, you know, Jeep, whatever you want, you know, unicycle, go be you. However you move forward, you're not going to be walking anymore. So this is what we have for you, gorgeous waning moon, gorgeousness out there. We are sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are. If you are interested in having more of these beautiful readings in your life 2 to 3 times, probably 3 times a week, and you have not subscribed yet, please feel free to do that. We would love to have you. Myself and my guides, and and do hit that like button, and of course the bell notification, so you can be notified as soon as one of these beauties is uploaded. So until we meet again, go be you, all you waning mooners out there. That just sounds really weird. Pile 3, take care. Hey, all you lovely pile 4ers, or those of you who chose the question mark. Last but not least, but you are the waxing moon. You chose the waxing moon, whether you realized it or not. So this is fertility, growth, and abundance, inviting in prosperity. Absolutely gorgeous. And just to be clear, of course, fertility can mean absolutely everything, you know, whatever it is that you're working on. So we don't want to freak out all the ladies out there that are going, no, not for me. That's fine. It doesn't need to mean babies. It can mean absolutely anything. So let's get into your reading. But yeah, so the fertility, growth, abundance, and inviting in prosperity, of course, is going to be your sort of theme of the reading. And I did go ahead and, as I said in each of these piles at the beginning, I did already, I was going to say flush, but that's not the right word. I did already, I can't think of the word. Why can I not think of the word? Anyway, I am getting some cards for you. I've got a serious brain fart going on right now. I can shuffle. Woo. I did shuffle the cards for the entire reading for everyone. but I'm going to go ahead and shuffle them a little bit for your energy, for the waxing moon energy. So it's deliberately yours, your reading. So we're going to start off with Oracle and then move on to our tarot. Let's start with the middle card. This is your unicorn card, number 1, your personal unicorn. Bathe in pure love, stay open to unicorn magic, gorgeousness. You've got some new guides coming in. You've got sovereignty here in 41, loving that. And step out of your comfort zone with the North Node. So yeah, this is really solidifying all aspects of self here, and also really having fun with this. Now, this sort of came up and was sort of what came up in pile 1, which would have been the full moon. For all the full mooners, about coming into themselves. But it was a little bit, it was a different energy. For you, this is really exciting because you've done all of this work, and we always say this on this channel. Don't go down the rabbit hole. You've already done the work, Dark Night of the Soul. You've done all of this. Now, there might be some stuff coming up for you, because if you are clicking onto this, it is a timeless reading regardless, but if you are clicking onto this as we are honoring the full moon and the eclipse season, that would be the 19th of November. So the day it comes out, or in and around that time, 2-week period, because the eclipse season carries on after the full moon. So does the full moon. Full moon cycle is, the energy of the full moon is like, 2 weeks. Then you will understand that all of this energy that's coming in for you is moving you forward in some way. So as you move forward, you're sensing this sort of new beginning coming up. So some aspects might be coming up for you. Now, it's not important for you to pay particular attention to it, but really honor the energy that's coming up. In the past, for some of you, you would have worked through it and said, yeah, I know this is old energy. It's going to integrate, and that's fine. It would have integrated. It would have been fine. And there's nothing wrong with it. But there's a way to honor the energy as it comes up this time. It is old energy, but it might want to tell you one last thing. And the last nugget of information is it's always going to be something beautiful, that gold at the pot, the gold at the end of the rainbow, as it were. So if there is sort of this mini dark night of the soul that's coming up with old energy coming up, stay with it. It's as you move through the eclipse, as you move through the full moon, it's gonna I'm gonna say dilapidate, which is kind of an interesting word to come in for that. It's gonna integrate completely, but there's an honoring of it, an honoring of that energy, and an honoring of you. And what's happening that's really exciting, and it's coming in with the question mark too, and I love that you chose that icon, is that for you, everybody comes into their sovereignty and really owns their authenticity in different ways. You can own your narrative, own everything that's happened to you, honor every part of you, all of that. That's really important. We're not saying not to do that. Not at all. But for you, you've gotten to the point where you solidified who it is that you are and who it is that you're not. And you're just sort of like really staying open to who it is that you're moving into. So there's aspects of your personality that are shifting. There's aspects of how you see the world, and how even your taste in things are sort of shifting a little bit. You might be interested in something that you weren't interested in before, or, this new brand of like you love science fiction now and you didn't before. That's very specific, which is giving you an example. But really opening yourself up now that you've got this like true foundation of who you are. You've worked through that stuff. Again, even if this old stuff is coming up, it wants you to honor it. That's all it is. And there's ways to honor without paying too much attention to it, but just honor it, sit with it, allow it to move through. That's something that you don't always do. You're very heavily into the integration process. I'm getting this down. When it comes to getting things done, you are like absolutely on it. When you go down and I'm going to go into the dark night of the soul, I'm going to get this done. I mean, there's no stone unturned when you do this, right? But at the same time, you're almost too good at healing. Sometimes it's just about not doing that extra work, which sounds a little bit weird, but bear with us, not doing that extra work, but instead sort of just honoring what's coming up. There's no more work to do. We just want you to honor. And at the end of the honoring process, we're going to give you this piece of information, or we're going to give you this feeling, because you've never been through this process of just honoring everything as it comes up. You've wanted to work through it. You wanted to activate it or actively work with it. And this is sort of more of a surrendering way of doing it. So if this is the energy that's in and around you now, fear not, you're going to move through it. But that's part of the process of what you're going through and will solidify where you are right now and proves to be a really firm foundation for you to go in any direction. Now, we say this on this channel a lot, being flexible so you can move spherically in any direction and have that beautiful magical life. That's what my podcast is all about, having that magical life, right? If you're fixated on one thing and the universe wants to give you something else, then it's going to be an interesting time, but being completely open, but at the same time, really being grounded in who you are and what you want, you can still navigate really easily what you want. Now, this is something that you're doing with your own life, but this is also something that you're doing with your personality, which is really interesting. There's aspects of your personality that are shifting. There are tastes that are changing, things that you didn't think that you would be into, that you are into. Things about you are opening up. And it's really, really interesting. Now, allow this just to sort of go forward and just see what happens. Because, and don't be afraid of this too, because there might be sort of a brand new beginning where you're off in a completely different direction that you didn't think that you would, right? It's come out of nowhere. You're really interested in it. You can't put the book down. You've got to do it, and that's it. But you've spent 4 years training to do something else. This doesn't make any sense. Listen to your intuition. There's some ways for some of you to move forward. And we absolutely promise you, everything you've been through, all the experiences that you've been through has brought you to that point. And you may not think that you will be able to take at this moment, at the beginning when you're figuring this all out, you may not think that everything that you've been through will be able to translate over and help you out into what you're doing now, because it's so brand new and it's so out of whack or whatever. But it will. It may not be immediate, obviously, it may not be immediately obvious to you how that will work out or how that will be translatable from one to the other, but it will. All that experience will. So be completely open in this moment as you move forward to all these new tastes. They're opening up you to a new path, to something new, to something magical. Or if it's something that you already want to do, it's sort of a new way of doing it moving forward. This is really opening up for you in a very, very exciting way. And if you really work with this energy and just have faith in yourself, because you've got everything that you need to move forward, have faith in yourself and remain open and have that happy heart, sort of that wondrous sort of spirit, and a fully integrated inner child will help you here, then there's going to be some really interesting twists and turns for you, right? And don't think that you're going to be able to figure it out beforehand, because some of you are like, all right, I think I know what it is. Some of you might, but many of you won't. And it's just being open to how this is going to play out. But it's really, really exciting. Yeah, we have the Six of Pentacles coming in here. But it's going to suit you far more than what you thought, right? What you thought you wanted. Now, keep daydreaming. A lot of you are daydreamers and trying to figure out what it is that you want and trying things on. And, is this right? Is this right? I don't know. That's fine. All of that's beautiful. Keep up with that. That's wonderful. But also there's other ways, there's other aspects coming in. Now, some of these new ways of being will come in from other people, suggesting something and it feels right for you. But again, working on that platform of being entirely confident that no matter where you are, no matter what you do, you're going to land on your feet. And when you look back on your life, Pile 4, all you beautiful waxing moons, you absolutely know that there's situations that you got yourself out of. You don't even know how you got yourself into them, but you don't know how you got yourself out of. You've always landed on your feet. You've gone for things and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. That's crazy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it. And other people are like, what? And you've done it, right? So there's nothing in this world that suggests that you won't be able to get what you want. Keep that confidence, stay in that foundation, create that foundation and keep that foundation beautiful for you, but also remain completely open to what's coming in for you. Because, and when it does happen, it can be really, really quick. And we don't want to freak you out or anything, but it can be really, really quick. And for some of you, might require kind of a quick answer, but you'll know. Always click into your intuition. Don't say yes right away, right? But some good ideas are wonderful. And then, an hour later, the idea kind of wears off a little bit. You're not as excited about it. That's an indication, right? But, 24 hours, we need an answer. Stay with it. Always stay with your intuition. But some of those situations will be really, they will happen really quickly. They will be beyond brilliant, and they will be really amazing. And just staying with your intuition. If it says yes, then go with it. So, and you won't be able to figure out how this happens yet. The Hierophant we have here with your personal unicorn and the Three of Cups. So happy times ahead, celebrations coming into exploration with your soul family, the idea or the understanding that you can work in collaboration with people, building communities based on significant, like, shared hindsight of what it is that you want to create in this world. Because for a lot of you, you've been out there doing this work sort of on your own, or you've found pockets of people, or your significant other, or who it is. But, it's been rather lonely work, or whatever it is that you do in the creative fashion, if you're a writer or whatever. There's an aspect of you that's been doing this sort of on your own. There's an isolating factor to it. And, we're all here alone one way or another, absolutely, but not to feel lonely. So coming into really building, the next part of your life is all about building these really beautiful connections, and really feeling as though these connections are building communities and moving this forward, and really finding your group, really finding your heart in this lifetime in a way that you haven't before. Again, pockets of it, wonderful. And you've been supported, and whoever's on your side, whoever loves you, adores you, right? You can kind of have that, if people don't like you, they don't like you, but when they love you, they'll do anything for you. You have that kind of heightened sensibility, sort of all or nothingness about you, and people sense that, and they often react that way to you. And that may have bothered you before. It doesn't, because you've lived too long. No matter how old you are, you've been through too much. If people are wishy-washy, or they're not that interested in you, you would rather people who are just really there for you, rather than having 50 people who are lukewarm. You're just not interested in any of that stuff anymore, right? So this is about you building connections. This is about you building beautiful communities and doing this tangible work sort of outside of the frame of work that you did before, and making it sort of bigger, tangible, working with others. Again, working with soul family coming in, so they're not in pockets anymore, they're right there. And seeing everything that you stand for, seeing everything that you do in the eyes of others, and being celebrated for that too. This is a new level of working for you. This is a new level of seeing how your energy tangibly works in the world and is integrated, and provides you money, security, beautiful essences, and opportunities for you. Whereas before, it provided you sort of a spiritual aspect. Now you're getting the physical aspect of it too. But really concentrate on the spiritual aspect of it, because the second part of it will be secondary, and it will flow better, quicker, easier for you if you're concentrating on the spiritual aspect of it. Let's get you a little bit more information. But yeah, the soul family, this connection moving into this beautiful community. It's just so heartwarming with everything that you've been through and all the work that you've done on yourself, to be able to be out there in the world and actually shine instead of just shining in your bedroom is just incredible. And this is absolutely your time. It really is prosperity at its best. You've got the King of Cups. Come on, you've got that movement forward, really owning your space there in a gorgeous way. And you've got the Seven of Wands. Let's get you one more here too. I'm feeling this. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles. That's it. It's not about, got the Emperor. I love that at the bottom here too. Yeah, it's not about trying to prove to people who don't see you anymore. It's not about trying to be seen by people who are, again, lukewarm. It's about being around people who have the same vision. It's about working with people who not only have the same vision, but have the resources. So when you move forward, you're making these solidified steps to actually see change in the world, really big changes. Now, when we work with the collective and we're transmuting energy, that's a lot of work, right? And we do see it. We do see change. We talked about this in pile 3. We're seeing the direct results of all the transmuting of the lower energies of moving forward. We're not saying that there isn't a payoff there, not at all. There absolutely is. But seeing it on a grassroots level, seeing it in our communities, seeing whatever it is that you want to do that's off the paper and in the hands of the people, this is kind of a big deal. This is you moving forward and you working with people with the same vision, where you're not trying to, you weren't trying to work with people who didn't see you, but just being around the energy of lukewarm, sort of like, yeah, I kind of get it, but I don't. But actually working with this energy of bringing your vision, because you all have the same vision, and seeing it all come together. That's what the new earth is really about. This part of it is transmuting on a spiritual level. It's also on a physical level too, but then taking it to the kind of the streets and seeing the changes that we really want, building these communities up from the bottom up, people understanding themselves as beautiful no matter what they've been through, and being able to see themselves as beauty without shame, without fear, without shame, and really bringing that back to our community so we can, so everybody can thrive, right? Not people who have fallen off the wagon because they're having a hard time working within these structures that are collapsing anyway, right? So this is a way for you to bring that all forward. And this is what you do anyway. And you'll have your own unique style. And even if you work with other people, you'll be hired for what you specifically do, and other people will be there to support you. But whatever it is that you do, it's time to make it tangible. And there is so much energy. There is so much. You've got ancestors in and around. The ancestors are here. You've got so many beautiful energies and really, really powerful guides who are really nudging you in this direction. And you're kind of feeling that nudge too. All right, it's time. Let's do it. Little bit quicker, you can take a further step. We've got this. You can do it. You can take another step. You can and they're just nudging you a little bit forward. And it's all about really having faith in your vision and who you are, and again sharing that vision with the right people so you can feel solidified, you can feel that confidence. It's tough when you're holding space for something that just that can't see it yet, because that space, as you transmute it, the energy works differently in the stratosphere, right? When other people get that vision too, other people can hold it for you, and it feels different. And this is for you, coming out of that bedroom stage into the integration phase. And this is a beautiful time for you to be able to see all of this gorgeousness that you did. You're going to be able to see how it can actually tangibly change lives. So from this transmuting stage into whatever it is that you can do is extremely powerful, which is why you've done this many lifetimes before. So again, this is not your first rodeo. So you're here to do this. And this is the fire time. This is where you get to put on your fire boots. I don't know where that came from. I genuinely have a vision of you wearing fire boots, and it's kind of amazing. Fire boots, getting out there, doing what you want, right? And being able to sort of, and not having anything in your way, to be able to take off and do whatever it is that you want to do, and see all of this happen in the world and integrate it. And again, building these beautiful communities from the bottom up. This is your time, and this is how you're going to feel connected in the world. This is the second part of your activated blueprint too. The first part is healing yourself and transmuting and getting the world to the point where they could see and actualize and visualize and see this coming into fruition. Now it's starting to happen. This is the second part of your blueprint. And honestly, this is going to be a lot easier. The second part of your blueprint is going to be a lot easier than the first part. So we want you to have fun with this, right? Which is why you got the inner child front and center, having fun, wondrous, magical times, being open to any of these kind of fast-paced situations that may come in. Not every single one of them is going to work for you. So again, click into your intuition, see which one pans out. But there's some exciting opportunities that don't even think about it, that you won't even be able to see coming. It's all about your energy and moving it forward. But stay in your foundation of knowing that everything's going to be great. You're going to fall on your feet and getting excited about everything, and it's all going to bring it in quicker. But this is happening now for you. So for most of you, that's your fertility, right? And it really is going to grow and bloom in a brand new way. And again, the second part of this activation is really, really fun. Get to really be in thriving mode, thriving mode, which is a place that you've been in and out of, but staying in it and elevating that thriving mode to the highest it can go. The sky is the limit. And actually for you, even further than the sky, the black holes, I don't know what it is, but the sky is the limit. Anywhere you want to go, you absolutely can. Stay open and stay true to yourself, and you cannot go wrong. So this is what we have for you, Paul, for gorgeous waxing moons. If this is an energy that you want to be in and around 2 to 3 times a week, feel free to subscribe if you have not already. Hit that bell icon also so you can be motivated. That's good too. You can be notified every time a new reading comes up, and of course hit that like button. So please go have some fun. Go be you, pal 4. We are sending you so much support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Beautiful, beautiful pal 4. Until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye.